In class. My name's Alex, and I'm doing the current event spotlight this week. And I'm doing it on Muhammad Abu al-Kian. Uh, this attack took place literally a week ago on March 22nd, 2022. That was last Tuesday. I'm recording this on Tuesday, so literally a week ago. Uh, it happened in Beersheba, Israel, at approximately 4:10 on March 22nd, 2022. Uh, a man named Muhammad Abu al-Kian was responsible for the murder of four people while injuring two more with a knife. Uh, the attack began when Akian drove to a gas station where he stabbed and killed the employee. She was 49 years old. Uh, After that, he got back into his car and he was planning on driving to the shopping center, but that's when he saw a pedestrian riding a bike and he decided to run them over, unfortunately. Uh, Once he reached the shopping center, he stabbed and killed another woman and a man. The woman was 43 years old and the man was 67. Uh, this is when a bus driver named Arthur Chamov came out to investigate the commotion because he thought it was a car accident happening, um, but only to see that it was a terrorist attack taking place. Chamov took out his firearm, aimed it at Alkian, telling him to drop his knife, saying, drop your knife. But Alkian responded by lunging at the bus driver. Uh, um, This made Chamov have to act in self-defense, shooting Akian. Uh, as you can see in the picture down below, Akian's the man in the middle. Chamov is the man in the left wearing the blue. Um, and then there was another man who was unidentified, also with the firearm. That's the man on the right with the red shirt. He was also firing at Akian, but he was not able to be identified. Um, after Akian got shot, 4 minutes later, the police arrived and Akian was pronounced dead at the scene. Um, the attack was said to have ended at 4:18 p.m., which means it lasted 8 minutes. In the end, there were five deaths, including the attacker, two injured, they're in stable condition in the hospital, and many more who received treatment from first responders just due to the anxiety uh, from seeing and witnessing the attack. Um, I also do have a video on the on the on the uh, on Alkian getting shot by Chamov, but I'm not gonna show it. It's just sensitive topic, sensitive video, graphic video that I don't think not everyone wants to see. But I am gonna link it in my discussion post. If you guys are interested, you guys can watch it, but I'm not gonna show it here just because of that. Now let's get started with who Muhammad Alkian is. Al-Kian was born in Hura, a town located in the southern district of Israel. It stated that he was a teacher for his career, but it was reported that he was teaching children to support the Islamic State, and he spread it pro-ISIS propaganda. He did this by showing them videos of the Islamic State. Um, Muhammad Al-Kian he's no stranger to the authorities, and this is because he's had many connections with ISIS. He even stated that he had interest in uh, going to Syria to join them. Um, and in 2016, he was arrested and sentenced to 6 years in prison for spreading and promoting ISIS propaganda. Uh, and he took a plea bargain. He pled guilty to conspiracy to commit a crime and attempting to act on behalf of a terrorist organization. Like I said, he got 6 years for this. However, after 3 years in, a judge felt that he had remorse and regret for his actions. So he was released just after serving half his sentence in 2019. Um, the significance of this attack. The terrorist organizations Hamas and Islamic Jihad praised the attack. Hamas spokesperson Abdel Latif Al Qawuno called it a heroic act and vowed that the group's battle against the occupation continues and we will not stop. End quote. Um, there is also a concern that more attacks will follow after this one, especially since there is expected to be a wave of escalating violence ahead of the Muslim holy month of Ramadan. Um, these concerns were unfortunately true, seem to be true. Um, since this attack, which was literally just a week ago, um, there has been an additional two more in Israel, which makes, unfortunately, three attacks um, in just a week. Um, the first attack after this one was it happened on Sunday, March 27th. 2 Israeli police were killed in a terrorist attack in the northern city of Hadera. Um, the second attack, which happened today, Tuesday, um, March 29th, 5 passerbys in a city near Tel Aviv were shot and killed in a terrorist attack. And those are just the headlines for the attacks. And now I'm going to cover the media coverage in the U.S. on this attack. Um, to be honest, it was kind of hard to find information or coverage on this attack in the United States. There are only a few websites or media outlets that I could find reporting about it. That's New York Daily News, MSN, and the Associated Press. Um, a lot of the big name media outlets, such as CNN, Fox News, USA, they didn't cover this at all. I couldn't find anything on their websites or TV channel or nothing about this attack, um, or any of these attacks. That's just it's kind of just shocking, to be honest, and concerning in a sense. Now, going into the media coverage on the world on this attack, um, there were significantly more coverage on this topic, specifically media outlets in the Israel area. That's not a surprise, but to list a few, uh, Haaretz, they're based in Israel. The Time of Israel, also based in Israel. France 24, that's based in France. Jerusalem Post, based in Israel. Middle East Eye in England. BBC, also in England. Dhaka Tribune and Bangladesh. It could just be seen how this is covered way more around the world than the United States. And I don't know if you guys could see that, but uh, um, I tried to bold Haaretz and Jerusalem Post. As they were the media outlets that covered this attack the most. If you look up this attack on the internet, they're the two sources that come up the most. And it's no surprise because they're based in Israel, like I said. Um, so this is stuff that impacts them directly and their audience. So it's no surprise that they are constantly reporting about these attacks. Now, we're gonna learn. I want to talk about how this attack relates to the subjects we are learning this week. And not just this week, but throughout these past 2 weeks, we have learned a lot about lone wolf terrorism, which is often defined as mass murder that was committed in a public setting by an individual who acts on their own or by themselves. And this is exactly what Mohammed al-Kian was. He was a lone wolf terrorist. Um, although he was influenced and planned to join ISIS, he never actually did because he got put in prison in 2016. So he was never actually affiliated with them, uh, and he was never actually like in ISIS. And he acted on this attack completely alone. Uh, Another topic that we covered this week was specifically this week was how the internet sometimes influences these individuals into radicalization, leading them to join these terrorist organizations. And this was something else that was seen with Muhammad al-Qiyam, as stated earlier in the presentation. He was reported showing videos online of the Islamic State to young children, trying to influence them to join as well, which is disturbing. But uh, along with that information, it can also be inferred that the internet and videos of the Islamic State is what drove him into radicalization in the first place and wanted to join ISIS in 2016. Um, as you could just see, like how much the internet and these videos on the internet can influence, and I mean, it can be pretty much inferred that Al-Qaeda saw the videos that he was showing to the children, and that's what influenced him to want to join ISIS. So, these videos is just internet is sometimes what leading these individuals into radicalization. Now I'm going to go over how these attacks relate to subjects we have learned in the past weeks. Specifically in Module 1 and 2, we learned about how the media influences what news we hear about and see. They're usually centered around how it impacts us. And I wanted to uh, quote and emphasize us because that doesn't specifically pertain to us. By what I mean by that is it really depends on what audience, like I stated earlier. So in Israel, obviously, those media outlets are going to cover this attack more than it would be in the US because uh, us just means people in Israel, so it impacts them. Um, as it is just a way to create clicks, views, likes, and engagement. This was evident here, as even though a terrorist attack was along with the ones that are followed are important, they do not impact us or draw as much attention as the war between Ukraine and Russia and the U.S. Um, and that causes these attacks to be brushed to the back or not reported on at all. That's simply because the war in Russia and Ukraine just impacts the people in the U.S. more. So obviously, those are going to be reported on more because they just draw more engagement from the audience, and the audience meaning the people in the U.S. Um, and in Module 7, we learn about basic history and background for a terrorist organization, ISIS. And that module relates to this attack because of the fact that Muhammad al-Kian has shown interest in joining ISIS back in 2016 in his attempt at spreading ISIS propaganda. And um, that's all, guys. I listed my works cited out here. But I wanted to say thank you guys for listening to our presentation, um, listening and watching, I guess. Uh, and I'm looking forward to hearing back from you guys. And again, I appreciate you guys. Thank you.